So she's come in. There we go. It says we are alive and well, which is a good thing to be. And hopefully when I keep glancing over to my laptop, I'll see us move away from starting soon to live and direct. It takes about 35, 40 seconds to get everything set up between the business Hangouts and Google. But eventually it happens. There we go. I'm sensing something happening on the other side. Yep, there we go. We can see that it's working. So, Debbie, can you hear us? And well, you probably can't see that Beth is in the film strip because there's only two people, and it doesn't show up when there's only two people in the film strip. But let's just see if Debbie is hearing us. And again, we've got to wait about 35 seconds from the time I ask a question until we get a response from our wonderful audience group. So what's new in Chicago? Is it cooler out there? We've been so hot and humid over here.
It was hot and humid last week, and this morning I got up, it was 60 degrees.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. I like that.
It was a little chilly for August for me. I think it might have reached into the lower 70s by now, but this morning it was pretty chilly. I was tempted to wear a jacket, and I said, no, I just can't bring myself to wear a coat in August. It just doesn't feel right.
That's right. Well, I don't know. At the end of August, we have a Canadian National Exhibition. You know, you go out there, ride the roller coasters, the Ferris wheels, and eat lots of crazy food in the food building. And it's always been, you take a jacket along with you because it might be hot during the day, but it's down into the 60s at night. So I look forward to the end of that summer heat and into the refreshing fall area that comes along. So I much prefer spring and fall. I only like summer if I'm down on the beach with a pina colada in my hand. You know, then I've got it. Let's see. We've got Ruth has joined us. Hi, Ruth. Good to see you. Wonder who else will join with us today. I try to read and look at the screen at the same time, multitasking. I say, oh, I don't know if I can do this. I'm going to have to get some new spectacles, I think, so that I can see. Thank goodness they've got the colors now behind the text chat, so at least you know where to look. Your eye is drawn over to it. So I guess we're far enough into it. Oh, we just lost Debbie. So maybe she'll pop back in. Lost her connection, I guess. Yay, good to see you too. Yes, we got Halloween around the corner. We're going to have to do something special, have a Halloween event. That's right.
Costumes and all.
Well, we might do that. There, on Google Hangout, there's a little app that you could have that can put masks on and costumes on. I've seen some people with tiaras on their head and magic top hats and magic wands. So we might research that and see if we can do something along that line.
Have an avatar.
Yeah. It sort of superimposes over the person. So there is an actual avatar. So you could be a dinosaur if you want, you know, I mean, a Tyrannosaurus Rex or maybe a raptor. They're the ones that get people's attention. Did you see Jurassic World? It was just an amazing movie.
This latest Jurassic? No, I haven't seen it. I've seen some of the previews for it, but I haven't seen the movie.
I guess you're not a big dinosaur fan, are you?
Not really. I did enjoy the first movie, though, Jurassic Park.
Well, if you enjoyed that, you're really going to love this one because it is not just dinosaurs going crazy. There are some plot lines and some interesting script writing, but it is neat because it's like 20 years after Jurassic Park. where we left off, and there's a big, amusement theme park now, and it's like visiting Disneyland. There's monorails, there's rides, there's a main street that you go down, you go into the gift shops and buy souvenirs. I mean, it's an established theme park. In fact, if it was there, I'd go. I mean, it was really interesting the way they laid it all out. But of course, there's a big bad dinosaur, and he escapes from his pen, and they got to try and capture him before he goes and eats the 10,000 attendees to the park today. But it's quite suspenseful, and the acting is really good. It is. I would say, in my view, it is the best of the four, I guess, that they've done. I own all three, so I'll buy this one as well. It's a nice change to the other ones, and it sort of wraps up a storyline. Of course, there's a cliffhanger. It's probably not going to end. There'll be a Jurassic 5, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It is a good summer blockbuster, and in this case, I mention it because the raptors actually go after the dinosaurs instead of just the people. The raptors have been trained to be like Dobermans, and they've got some new skills that they have, and they use the raptors to try and control this Megasaurus that has escaped. So it's quite entertaining. So I guess we should get into the meat of the day. And in terms of who's on camera, it's just you and me. So maybe, Beth, you could say hello to everybody and let them know who you are and why you're there. And if any other coaches get to turn their webcam on, we'll introduce them as well. But let me turn it over to you.
Hi, I'm Beth Williams, and I'm here because I'm a cancer coach who's looking for my tribe, so to speak. I really want to extend my existing executive coaching practice into the specialty area of working with cancer survivors. And I've even told some people that I'm willing to extend that to anyone who's survived a life-threatening illness, because I really want to make a difference in and help people go through their transformation to find their new normal and create the lives that they want, reducing stress and increasing all the positive outcomes that we're looking for.
And you might want to share why you have a unique background to do that. I was fascinated by your sort of work history.
So I spent 20 years in human resource management, and then I left corporate America to become a consultant. And so I did HR consulting for a while, and that's what exposed me to competency models and leadership assessments and executive coaching. In fact, one of my mentors was an executive coach who headed up the executive coaching practice at the firm that I worked at for about 4 years, and I wanted what she had. It was great energy that she had, and so, but it wasn't until my own brain tumor that I finally had my first wake-up call saying, okay, if not now, when am I going to go through coach training so I can do what I love full-time and stop messing around with things that I don't really like to do?
Yeah. Yes, yeah, and it was nice to talk with you on our last meeting and learn that you had the easy cancer. I mean, that was good to know.
I still, even after your comments and your amusement about my easy time of it, I still have this feeling that it was so easy for me to recover and to get through it all, that in some ways I felt like, okay, I must have had an easy time of it so that I can go out and help other people, because other people I've talked to have had such a rough time. And then there's a part of me too that wonders, well, maybe I had an easier time because I was taking care of myself physically. I was taking care of myself emotionally. I was dabbling in the spiritual side of things. And all of the things I had learned through the years just came full circle, and I put it all together so that I stayed pretty positive and just believed. I just knew that things were going to be all right.
And they turned out to be that way. And now
Yeah.
you're out there trying to make a difference. And I'll mention to the audience that Beth is not a relative, although she feels like she's related to me, but just a coincidence of the similar last name. And Beth and I are going to be talking about survivorship issues, particularly in a work context. What does it mean when you finished your treatment program, have gone through some kind of transition to seeing yourself as a survivor, and now have to jump into your career again, or back into school again? Some of our people who watch our monthly broadcasts, are in the 18 to 39 range, and often many of them are in education. So it's a transition from how do I go from patient to person and back into my work or school world. And we're going to do that in September. We're not going to do it next week as we have originally had talked about. And that was my decision because I've got so many new ideas that I wanted to put together on this topic. I found a couple of resources that really fascinated me in terms of what some of the research is being done around work reentry and where's the role of the coach in it. So although the people today are all coaches, our audience in our monthly broadcasts are cancer patients and survivors. So I'm going to really try and make sure we talk about the issues that you have to deal with, but also why the role of the coach is so important. And I'll mention some of the research work that I found. And that's really what's excited me since our time together last week, is that there's a lot of research going on. If you start to follow the trail, it's quite amazing to see how many people are actually trying to quantify what we as coaches are doing. And for those of you here today or watching the replay, you'll remember that last week we talked about the cancer registry study, and that was about 7,300 that last year they compiled a set of research statistics about them and displayed the results of the needs that cancer patients and survivors have. Now, to us as professional cancer coaches, it was no big surprise. We've all decided, which area of discipline of focus that we want to be in. But it was nice to see independent bodies assessing thousands of cancer patients, and right up to September of last year, compiled their data. And they compile it every month, but every year they release their studies to see if there are any trend lines. And it is a scientific set of questionnaires and an analysis done of the data and the quantitative data as well. And then cancer researchers take that information and then break out all kinds of other research studies based on the premises that the cancer registry has sort of presented to the oncology community. So I've been trying to follow those studies and find out, well, who's been saying what and why are these important to us? And maybe I'll bring up see if I can bring up my current screen. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, there's the study that of the issues that came up. Now, the study doesn't break things down in such a format. I've sort of done that by looking at all the things they were talking about and what are all those areas that we as cancer coaches can focus in on to be of assistance to the people in our communities, or nationally or internationally, if that's where you want to go. And it's nice that there are organizations that give us the background and the experience to be the sort of experts in this area. I mean, we know about the a group that Jeanette Marshall is heading, that PCCI is really taking professional cancer coaches and educating them into the areas of nutrition and diet and exercise and lifestyle change. And if that was an area you as a coach wanted to work in, then you've got to get into the program that Jeanette's group is offering. But then there are other areas that you can become a specialist in. And that's, sort of the psychosocial areas, the stress, the wellness, the fear, anxiety, grief, anger, all these kinds of things that happen to the patient and the survivor. And the Cellier Institute of Stress, another one of our partners, has educational programs that they are now redesigning for cancer coaches to make sure that you get the capability to deal with these areas, because you may decide that there's a coaching dimension, there's a counseling dimension, there's a therapy dimension, and you've got to decide what is it that you can do with the audience that you work with. Some of the coaches that I've met, I've come with master's degree in counseling and offer therapeutic intervention strategies. And so, they're saying, so how do I take that formal knowledge and bring it out? But not all of us have, graduate degrees in therapy or counseling, or specialized knowledge in areas that are dealing with the various protocols that oh, geez, I lost it. I thought I had it in that area. Oh, I don't have it there. I wonder what I did with it. So I'll have to find that at another time, because there you go. But there are areas that you want to specialize in and need some help with, and so PCCI and the Institute of Stress are going to be there to help you. But if some of you are saying, but I'd like to have coaching credentials, I've been doing a lot of research trying to find out where is the body that has something that oncology departments would actually care about. And I found a couple of studies, and I sort of followed the trail. I said, well, there's the Harvard School of Coaching. What do they teach, and where do their graduates go? And I went over to the Mayo Clinic and said, okay, where do they offer coaching, or is it only medical treatment programs, or is it a counseling program? And I went over to Johns Hopkins, and I went over to, what was the other big group that, well, I went over to Cal U. They had an interesting coaching program. But the Mayo Clinic, I saw some people over there. And the interesting thing is, as I looked at what are hospitals, universities, institutions doing to introduce coaching into their world, I found that there was a certification group called Well Coaches. And I'm just in the stages now of setting up a relationship with them that we can bring to our Cancer Coach Network. That if you want credentials that the hospitals and clinics and support groups are looking for, their certification program gives you the coaching skills that you need to be recognized. And I think that's the point I'm trying to make, is you as a cancer coach have to decide, where are the patients or survivors that I want to work with? Do I want to talk to a hospital or a clinic and work out a relationship that patients can come to you, or when they're discharged and the hospital and clinic doesn't want to, they do want, but they cannot offer ongoing programs. They're in a treatment model, and the treatment sort of ends and you get discharged. But there are all these other issues that I just showed on the screen that patients and survivors still need help with. And the coaching model is being accepted by those clinics. However, they want to deal with people who have a healthcare background, a coaching background,
Right.
a counseling background, that are professionally trained. They don't want just a cancer survivor who wants to help to be endorsed by them, if you will. So I'm trying to look for where are the bodies that if you think you need that credential, you can go and get it. And so now we know that there's a Jeanette's group and Dr. Earl's Institute group and now the Well Coaches group. The other couple of things that surprised me as I did my research is you may want to deal with home care organizations. I've been spending a lot of time here in my region with a community-based home care program that I was involved in when I was discharged from my treatment program. And I said, well, why can't coaches work with the nurses and other healthcare professionals that are allocated to home care and now offer something other than medical treatment? Why can't you introduce coaching? And certainly in my region, I got the big thumbs up. I mean, they thought this was just a tremendous thing that they would like to explore bringing to the geographic region that they serve, and invited me to their Share Care Council. So I'm now working with them on coming up with how do they introduce a coaching model as a service infrastructure to the patients in the home care world. So it's like Nurse Next Door. Some of you may know them as a franchise. They're out there offering all kinds of other services. And certainly my group, CCAC, is saying, gee, why does it have to be private sector only? Can't we do it ourselves? But once again, who are the professionally qualified individuals? So I said, hey, I know where the coaches are. I'm finding them, and we've got a directory of qualified and certified coaches. And they said, oh, that's even better. So, well, that's what I want to do is I want to match coaches with the patients and survivors. So we'll find the people if you will take them into your community. And they said, well, sure, why the heck not? Let's talk about how that process would actually work. And so I would suggest to you out there to think of the same thing. The home care groups that the hospitals discharge patients to may be another focus area that you could go to, wave your flag and say, I can be of service there. And then the final area that I found, which just blew me away, is online cognitive behavioral therapy. The Go Lantern group have launched the coaching program that if you needed access to a coach, you can pay $49.50, so $50 a month, and have 20-minute sessions during the month with a qualified coach / mental health professional. And use your smartphone, use your desktop computer, whatever, and deal with the emotional issues that you have. Now, this is not a fly-by-night organization. If you go to the Lantern site and look at the PhDs and so forth that are behind it, the university affiliations that they've got, it is a startup. It's a brand new concept, and certainly it's controversial. Can you do counseling, virtually? Shouldn't it be done face-to-face? But they're saying, hey, there are certain people who do want to have a coach that's available to them on their smartphone or their tablet or whatever. And for a monthly fee, you will get someone to work with. And for those of you who think that's a cool idea, Lantern is hiring coaches. So they've got on their Facebook channel, if you go there, you'll see that they're saying, hey, if you'd like to do some coaching for us on a contract basis, talk to us. And, you get an hourly rate for the amount of time that you spend with people, and a whole raft of issues. I mean, it can be the emotional issues. It can be the lifestyle issues. It can be the work-related issues. you've got a number of different things that they will offer to the community, because obviously their model is a revenue model. They want to get X number of people spending $50 a month in order to work with them. So when you're looking for your client base and saying, where are they and how do I approach them, I'm trying to find where are the communities that seem to be opening their door to us, that want us to come in, talk to them. And right now, the only ones coming to them are holistic health coaches, wellness coaches, career coaches. They're not cancer coaches. And I think since the coaching idea is starting to be accepted, if we come in as professionally trained in the cancer area, with specific training from groups like Jeanette and Richard and now Well coaches, we've got something that no one else is offering and should make your job of getting recognized in your community a little easier. So let me stop there. That was sort of a diatribe, and go back to you, Beth. What does that all sound like to you?
Well, it sounds really interesting. What's Richard's last name?
Dr. Richard Earl, Canadian Institute of Stress. And
he's with the Canadian Institute
of Stress, the Sallier Institute of Stress internationally, and Dr. Earl is one of Sallier's last trained students, and his programs are actually certified by the family physicians or College of Family Physicians. So you get some accreditation through his group on a couple of the programs that he does. So yeah, he's one of the people that definitely we'll be talking more about. We'll bring him on to our coaching session to talk about his programs.
Great. So you're just a wealth of information every week. I'm so grateful that you're doing all this research, because I had done a little bit and didn't get very far. So this is great information. And the Go Lantern group at $50 a month per person, the only way that can really work is if they have enough volume. And given that there are over 14 million people in the US and Canada who are survivors, then there ought to be enough people to make that work.
Yeah, and I think on their site, I saw about 20 coaches already there. So, I mean, they've had a lot of publicity in New York Times and in the Time magazine and so on. So, anyone who wants help using a smartphone, they seem to be the recognized supplier at the moment. So whether it'll fly or not, don't know. But there's other groups that are trying to do that. And that's what I'm finding, is that there's a shift in the way services that all of us want to offer is delivered. I mean, we came out of a medical model that this was a treatment issue, and medical professionals had to deal with the issues by patients and survivors. But as you just saw from that list and what the Cancer Registry is talking about, it's a broader picture than that. And frankly, when you're discharged, you're on your own. You don't have any help.
Right.
So where do you go? And I said, right now, you go to your family physician, say, you know anybody who can help me? And he directs you to a therapist or a counselor or a coach or someone he knows in the area, and maybe you'll get some help, or you'll, talk to a social worker or a psychologist or whatever. My mandate, the horse that I'm riding is, I know we can do a lot better than that. The coaches that I've been meeting have the capability of offering unbelievable service value. They just are not visible yet. So I'm trying to spend my time figuring out what you folks can do out there in order to let the world know. And, that's why I have my own fast track, marketing program, my fast track 6-6 program, so that I can, spend 6 weeks of training with you and 6 weeks of coaching with you and get you out there generating revenue. So, you need the credentials, you need the knowledge, you need the marketing skills. And if collectively we can all help one another, then we are going to make a difference. And what I promised during my treatment program that I would, if I came out of this program alive and well, I would do everything I could to help other cancer patients. And through all you wonderful coaches, that can happen if you're out there generating new business. So that's what I'm doing between our meetings, is find out who's doing what and what is it that you need to pay attention to.
That's great. And I, for one, am eternally grateful for all the research that you're doing. I'm still working my way through the 48 pages of the report.
There's a lot in that one. You should see some of the other studies. In fact, one of them, and again, people out there should just contact me if you want to, if you have an issue. I might have known something about it. There was a 2008 study that was done at the Institute of Coaching at Harvard, where they actually wanted to study, does coaching make a difference with cancer patients? I mean, what is that not what we want to talk to people about?
Perfect.
They said through the study, here's the intervention that we did. Here's the analysis that we did. This is the treatment that we offered. Here's the coaching protocol that was put into place. And with their program of 6 sessions spread over 3 months with cancer patients and survivors, they significantly improved on the various dimensions that were being measured, dealing with quality of life, anxiety and depression, readiness for change, self-efficacy, exercise readiness, and eating behavior and weight change. The basic core elements that the patient is dealing with. They decided how to measure it, what instruments to use to test it, what patients and they did it in Vermont, Delaware, and Illinois, and got a significant change, and found that even after that program, for the next 12 months, there was a slight decline, but it was a slight decline without further interaction. If interaction was maintained with the patient, obviously these change elements were in the uptick. So, I'm finding, exactly the studies that you can wave out at someone saying, I don't need a coach. I say, well, here's the difference a coach makes. Scientifically proven. Harvard's group has done it. Here are the dimensions that cancer patients and survivors need to work with, and here are the statistical results of it. So it's out there, my friends. I mean, it really is out there.
So how do you get access to the Harvard study?
Oh, you want that? Okay.
Yes.
I'll give you that. I'll just see if I can drag it into the line. There it is. So there's the PDF on the benefits of wellness coaching. So there's the study.
Fabulous.
So yeah, no, I mean, there, on the good side, there's answers to the problem. On the bad side, it means you can't tell me, oh, I can't find business. I'm sorry. That's what I heard a few months ago when I met coaches, and I said, that's interesting. I guess that might be there. And then it was, well, I can't find them because the people that I'm meeting can't pay me. Well, you saw the research study I did and the analysis of the financial data. And you're right. If the person's earning $40,000 a year or less, living paycheck to paycheck, have no savings, then you definitely are going to have trouble trying to convince them to buy a service. Right. But that's only 42% of the North American, well, in this case, that was 42% of the American population. So that's, over 50% of the American population, is available to buy your services. They're not, yes, everyone is worried about finances. Every study says it's an issue, but only 42% have some severe financial restrictions with an inability to pay. The other group, can pay if they see the value in it. So that's where I said, okay, so now we know there are people, there's 17.5 million of them. There are 40% that are going to be really tough to try and sell a service to, so we got to stay away from them. We now know that, or the next objection was, oh, I can't go there because I don't have credentials. I think that I want to talk to the clinics and the hospitals and the community care groups, but they don't acknowledge me. So, okay, here's how you get the credentials. And they're not expensive. I mean, take coaching, for example. I spent the last 4 months looking at all the different coaching programs because there was no certification system that was out there. You could be so-called coach in 30 days. And, you know, the clinics and the hospitals, so that's not qualification. I mean, you don't have it. So, oh, you got to be ICF certified. Well, you know, that's a multi-month program. That's $10,000 in cost. And I said, no. That's not what you need to have core coach training skills. You need to have it in a different way. And now when you come to well coaches, it's only an 18-week telecourse with exams and mentoring and role playing, and it's only $1,300, $1,245. So, you know, it's not overly expensive to get the coaching skills that are now approved by hospitals and clinics. In fact, this one group, I was making a list just before the broadcast came on, the American Academy of Family Physicians, the American Medical Association, the American Academy of Nursing Practitioners, the Continuing Nurses Education, University of Pittsburgh, University of Pittsburgh School of Nursing, the National Association of Social Workers, and the National Commission for Health Education, all accept well coaching courses and give you continuing education credit. So they have evaluated the courses, think it's of value, and allow those kinds of people to work in their profession. So yeah, it's going to take 18 weeks and, you know, $1,200, but that's a big cry from, you know, 9-10 months and $10,000. So there are ways that you can get the coaching credentials. You know, if you don't want to be a nutritionist and you don't want to move into the oncology areas that Jeanette is dealing with, or you don't want to deal with the psychosocial issues, you want to deal with work and school re-entering or sexuality or personal and family relationships or spiritual issues and so on. Well, those are natural issues for a certified coach. I guess you'd call it a wellness coach or a life coach. So now there's a school that can give you the credentials and training to look after that area. So once you decide, what is it that I'm going to talk about in my community? And am I going to find my client prospects at hospitals or clinics? Or is it going to be in the home care community groups or third-party groups like Nurse Next Door? I called them 2 weeks ago, and they were interested in setting up a meeting with me in September about what coaching can be as a paid-for-service function that they can put out through their franchise. You know, and you add that to all of those, you know, lead generation areas that, again, we had talked about last week. Bring that screen share back up. You know, you've got all the many areas of dealing with direct mail and events and referrals and branding and so forth that you can use to go build awareness in your community beyond just knocking on the doors of the hospitals, clinics, and home care communities. So there's, you know, just literally dozens of techniques that you can use to build, you know, visibility, to get remembered, to generate that business that you're looking for. You just need an approach and an organization structure, and that's what I'm trying to do for you. And, you know, every week on Thursday, we can talk about this and see if it's of value to you. So, man, I'm just talking away today, aren't I? My goodness.
You have a lot to share.
Well, I'm just getting more and more excited by this. You know, I saw it as oh, this is going to be tough for a cancer coach to go out and earn a you know, reasonable living. And, you know, I look at executive coaches, business coaches, and other areas, they're all earning six figures. So why does a cancer coach have to be struggling along? I'm finding that's not the case. You just need to be maybe given a roadmap of how you can go ahead and do that. And that's what I'm trying to do on these Thursday sessions, is hear your questions and listen to what your concerns are, and then see if I've got some information that might be able to help you out.
It's great. You're doing a community service, Dave.
Well, that's what it was all about. That's what it was about. It was just, there were angels that saved my life, and I have a obligation to pay that back in many different ways. And I think this way is one of them, that if I can reach out to patients through coaches. I mean, I could go, I'm a relationship coach. I'm a psychologist. I'm a certified career coach. I mean, I've got the credentials to go out and go get my little coaching business. But when I looked at that and said, why do I want to do that? I'm only going to get my 10 or 15 patients to work with, which is nice. But if I had, 30 or 40 coaches who each got 10 or 15, now we're touching hundreds of patients and helping them along. So there's a multiplication factor here of me helping you reach out. And it doesn't strike me as impossible, because I'm doing it. I mean, I only have two patients that I work with, and now working with the home care group that I'll be introduced to other people. And I'm doing what you guys are doing, and finding that, you got to make some calls, and you've got to be professional, and you have to waive your credentials and knowledge, and you get in and you get the business. So it's the passion, the excitement, the contribution that you're making that's going to generate the revenue stream that we all need. We got to pay the rent. So how do we do that and help others at the same time?
Right. Do what our soul purpose tells us.
Whoa, there's a new topic we could have, isn't there? Oh, yeah.
Yes. When we're living our purpose and aligned with our values, it makes all the difference. That's wonderful true. To get up every morning.
Boy, is it ever. And that's what we try to do with the cancer patients. I mean, the ones that I still stay in touch with who are struggling have difficulty getting a smile on their face. So we know how to do it. I mean, I think I've said many times, and it might be overkill, but I live for a popsicle. A popsicle was a simple thing for me that put a smile on my face. The day that my diet allowed me to have a popsicle, and then the day that I was strong enough to walk down the hall to the kitchen and get my own popsicle. And then the day that I was strong enough to visit and talk with other people on the ward and give them a popsicle. It was just an amazing way of helping me cope with many issues that were really tough. And, getting a popsicle is so simple, as was a cup of coffee. I mean, the day I could actually have real coffee again was so exciting. But the picture for me is getting the popsicle and delivering the popsicle and watching the smile on other people's faces when you said, okay, should it be grape? Should it be orange? What kind of popsicle do you want? I mean, my goodness, did that ever help people release a lot of the stress that they were dealing with in today's treatment programs? So the little things that we as coaches can do can make a huge difference with the patient. And we can't lose track of that. That's why we're here. We are living our purpose. We have found a heart-centered profession where our experience, our knowledge, and for many of us, the actual treatment programs we went through make us truly understand the journey that other patients and survivors are going through, and we can make a difference.
Yes, that's what it's all about.
Yep. So Ruth is out there so quiet. You haven't asked any questions. So I'm not sure whether you're still there or whether you're just logged in and or you're just writing so many notes. That's what I'm going to believe. You're just writing a lot of notes out there. Any questions, Ruth? Anything that we could answer for you before we sign off for today? And as I say, we have to wait. But and again, just another announcement. Today, mylifeline.org, one of my favorite support organizations, signed a partnership agreement with the American Cancer Society. And now American Cancer Society is walking hand in hand with My Lifeline. And if you haven't looked at My Lifeline, you really should. It was my lifeline. It's more than a blogging service. It's a relationship building database tool set that you get to use as a cancer patient at no cost, which blew me away, the value that I got. I don't know about you out there, but many of us have more than one or two family members and supporters that we have to stay in touch with and tell them, how are we feeling and what are we doing? And, for month after month, you're sending out 15 emails a day trying to get everybody up to speed with what's happening to our lives. Well, the My Lifeline system allowed them to come to my little blog page where I could say what was coming on and post photographs so I could show them the infusion that I was getting or my, run out of the MRI or whatever. And there was a calendaring system, which was amazing because I had to arrange for people to get me groceries and drive me to my doctor's appointments and, even wash my dishes, do my laundry. So the calendaring system where you could say, this is the help I need, anyone in my support group there to help me, they would just put it in the calendar and I got the help. It was an amazing organization tool that My Lifeline offers, and I could understand why they're probably very excited today that the American Cancer Society, Marcia Donziger has done she's my role model. And I don't know if she ever watches the Coaches Hangout, but I'll just publicly say thanks to Marcia. I mean, 8 years ago, she had an idea like I have of helping people and she created a system. And now 9 years later, she's got over 100,000 cancer patients working with their technology platform, and today a formal alignment with American Cancer Society. So it just shows you if you're heart-centered, have purpose, have drive, a single person, and that's all she was a person like us who had suffered a cancer setback, had friends with a cancer problem, and said, we need some way of supporting people. She came up with an idea, and a few short years later, there she is out there with something we should all tell our patients to work with and use. It's easy to use, it's no cost to them, and offers a great deal of value. So please, everyone, get on board with My Lifeline, mylifeline.org. You've got to get there and share their resources with the cancer patients that you're working with.
Sounds good.
Looks like we don't have any other questions or comments. So I think, Beth, unless you've got some closing comments, I see you not nodding your head up. So I would say you and I have done our thing. I will say fond farewell, I guess is the thing. No, it's called mylifeline.org, not lifeline.com. It's mylifeline.org, Ruth. That's their actual name. So there you go. And again, what differentiates them from other groups is it's only for cancer patients. It's not like Caring Bridge and a number of other ones that offer support services to any chronic disease. This is for cancer patients, run and managed by cancer patients, dealing with cancer patient issues. That's it. That's their area. Just like we're dealing with coaching for cancer patients and survivors, not all the other areas. So they have specialized, we are specialized, and there's all kinds of other people doing the general thing. But as we've said, there's 17.5 million survivors. There's more than enough people requiring our help. We don't need to say, oh, and we also help other people. I mean, it's just cancer patients and survivors. And caregivers, of course. I
caregivers.
Always forget to do that. That's right, mylifeline.org. Thanks, Ruth, for publishing that. So all my good friends, thanks for coming out today, and we'll see you next Thursday, and we'll carry on the discussion. And don't forget to leave me comments and your news. I think Jeanette is announcing all kinds of courses coming up for the fall, and her retreat is still there. And Tracy Maxwell is still doing her Thunderclap program for her book on being single with cancer. So if any of you out there have announcements and things you want to share here in our support hangout on Thursdays, just let me know and we'll make sure you get some airtime, because lots of people are paying attention to what we're talking about on Thursdays.
Dave, that reminds me, I guess maybe I should talk about my book.
Yeah, sure. If you, I mean,
just to let everyone know, I intend to write a book next year, and this year I'm doing all my research, and the research is interviewing cancer survivors. And I have a series of questions I ask each person. They start out telling me their story, their personal story, and then I have a series of questions that I ask. It's just a conversation by phone, and I take notes, and there's a variety of opportunity for full disclosure versus total privacy, so that whatever the survivor's comfort level is with having their story be known, it's entirely up to them. But I just know that when I've only interviewed about 20 people so far. Each one has been a fascinating, inspirational story. And I want to interview 40 to 50 people total before I start writing the book. And I think through all of those interviews, something will emerge about resilience, what makes the difference, just a variety of stories and ways of coping and creating our new lives.
will it be in a format like Tracy's, that's sort of a workbook format, the exercise and so on, so we as coaches, once your book is published, can use it in our practice?
Well, that's certainly an idea. I hadn't thought about it originally, but it sounds like something that could be very useful. So I'm totally open. Whatever
And
emerges.
Just that only to say that means you can then put a training program around it and generate some other revenue from coaches. So
right.
It's an easy thing to do with your book. Is at the end of every chapter, as Tracy did, a number of questions that people can answer on their own that work well if a coach is working with them, and you can put a little program that coaches can attend, so you can show them how to maximize the value of your book and your data and your research. So why the heck not, I say.
That's right. Why not?
Why not?
Great ideas. Great ideas. So anyone who's interested or knows of a survivor who's interested in sharing their story, my contact information is in the directory, but I'll just say up front that people can send me an email at beth@yourflourishinglife.com.
Just type it in the text chat area.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah. So while Beth's doing that, I also will recommending your clients to be interviewed. I'm going to be interviewed. I've already said I'm going to be there. So she'll I know she's going to have at least one good story because I'm going to give it to her. So if any of you out there have patients that can probably benefit from that, that would be a good thing for them to do. It's not just from Beth's perspective. You'd be amazed at the value that patients have when they tell their story. It helps them put a lot of the issues that are in their head in a focused way, and it's a good thing for you to do. It's not just help Beth out; it's help the patient out by letting them share the journey that they had, and then we'll all gain by listening to what other people's journeys are about. As Beth said, it's a very therapeutic process, and it's what I'm getting tired of, and I guess a lot of coaches that I'm talking to are saying the same thing, is I hear cancer story after cancer story after cancer story. It's all about the pain, the suffering, the angst, the grief, and I'm tired of that. I want to talk about what is the result of all of that. We all know what the journey has been like. Some a little easier than others, and some a lot more difficult than you could ever imagine. Some of the people that I met, I'm just so inspired that after years and years of coping with treatment, they're still in there and still doing it in such a heroic manner with strength and grace. And you know, that result is what I would hope that cancer coaches share with the patient, not just the here's the pain and the suffering and the journey. You got to mention it so people can get a frame of reference that, you know, it was acceptable or not acceptable or horrific. And we all make judgments as to what that's all about. And cancer patients are looking to hear stories from other people. And caregivers are also trying to understand, well, what is the journey all about? And so when a caregiver comes and looks at a cancer story and all they hear is about the treatment process, the pain, the depression, the anxiety, the issues that really knock everyone back, it doesn't help the caregiver help their loved one. And yet the stories can have a, you know, good, positive, swing message. And that's what we want to hear is, what did that all mean? And, you know, 62% have post-traumatic growth, PTG. I mean, 62%, that's an amazing amount of people whose life changes remarkably for the positive through the exposure of the cancer journey. And that's hard for what I call the muggles. Those of you who are Harry Potter fans, you know, the muggles out there, they know about cancer and cancer patient survivors, but they don't understand the journey. Well, when they say 62% ended up with a positive perspective, that's hard for them to understand. And yet it's true. And work that Beth is doing and Tracy is doing and other members of our cancer network are doing is all going to allow caregivers to get a better picture of what the heck they should focus in on to help their loved ones through all of this. Man, we've got such important work ahead of us. It just incredible, just incredible.
It's so exciting.
It is, isn't it?
Yes.
I really like it. This is the best part of my life. My goodness.
Yes.
I can, you know, I can remember my treatment programs, and I'm glad I'm not there. I'm glad I'm here right now. This is where I want to be, you know.
Right here, right now, live in the moment.
Oh, yeah. I learn how to. In fact, as soon as I get off here, I'm getting a popsicle, friends. That's what I'm going to do.
Good for you, Dave.
Thanks so much. Take care, everyone out there. Have a great week. Spread the word. Tell everyone to watch the replay who didn't watch it. And take really good care of yourself. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye, Dave.